Yanni Tregellis.
Just a few days after a UMass Dartmouth student was hit and killed by a car on campus, the university announcing some safety changes coming to the campus. The campus's chancellor, Mark Fuller, saying that they're going to be implementing speed bumps as well as temporary speed signs that show drivers how fast they're going until they get a more permanent option placed in for this school year. The campus's chancellor also saying they're going to be holding safety forums tomorrow to hear from staff and students on some improvements that they want. Now, this is coming from the days after Frankie Patillo Jr., a 19-year-old freshman, was killed on Thursday. In the days following his death, students have been calling for change, speaking out. A petition online already garnering over 5,000 signatures from students calling for crosswalks, speed bumps, speed signs to try to limit the amount of speeding that's been going on. Speaking to some students on campus last Friday, they talked about how unsafe they feel on campus when they're walking without any sidewalks, without any crosswalks, things like that. Again, that accident happening Thursday at about 5:30 p.m. on Ring Road when 19-year-old Frankie Patillo was crossing the road and was hit by a student driver on campus.
Meantime, the college also planning a candlelight vigil tonight for those two students. That vigil will be at 8 o'clock this evening on the quad just in front of the library. An update on a story we first told you about on Sunday. New Bedford police investigating after two bodies were found dead near the hurricane barrier. They say that investigation is ongoing. They didn't release any further details. Now, these are the second and third bodies to turn up in the city of New Bedford in just the past 5 days alone. The incident also marks the latest in a string of fatal incidents across the South Coast in the last 2 weeks. New at 4 o'clock, Fall River police responding to shots fired around 1 a.m. Saturday near Alden and Dean Streets. Witnesses telling police they heard two shots before a man in a construction shirt left that area in a white SUV. Police also saw that SUV speeding onto Pleasant Street, so they pulled over the SUV and matched the suspect with witnesses who say they saw 50-year-old Kevin DeVoe. He was found with two guns inside of his vehicle. He's charged with carrying a firearm without a license, along with other charges tonight. No injuries were reported. That investigation still ongoing. Governor Dan McKee, along with other state leaders, expanding a proposed $20 million municipal road fund program. This would address Rhode Island's worst roads and bridges, along with sidewalks. Here's Providence Now reporter Daniel Coates.
Well, state leaders, including Governor Dan McKee, today spoke more on the proposed municipal road fund program. Now, this would combat some of those notorious roads, potholes, and other disturbances drivers and pedestrians face on streets across the state on a daily basis, and many of those I'm sure you can already identify. Now, mayors of many municipalities spoke in support of a proposed $20 million out of Governor McKee's 2024 fiscal year budget. $15 million would be divided equally between state municipalities, with $5 million left for other towns and other cities in need. Again, this gives local communities opportunities to target the worst roads, some of the worst bridges, and more that have plagued drivers for years now. And I spoke with some of those drivers who are over the moon to hear this news, to say the least, saying it's about time for safer roads in Rhode Island.
Meantime, officials breaking ground this afternoon on low-income apartments in East Providence. One neighborhood's new development will include 16 one- and two-bedroom apartments, and it'll also include 3 units for youth transitioning out of foster care. This project expected to be completed in early 2024. Spring is here, and you know what that means. Allergies in full swing. When temperatures rise, so can the pollen count. Here's Providence Now meteorologist Skylar Spindler.
All right, well, it's beginning to feel like spring, and as we head into the second week of April, those temperatures are starting to rise, and so is our tree pollen. Juniper, alder, poplar, aspen, and cottonwood are all contributing to our allergies and sniffly noses this week. So here's some things that you can do. You can take an over-the-counter allergy medication just to help. And then you can also use an over-the-counter saline nasal spray, and that can help clear out pollen from inside your nose. Be sure to shower after you're outdoors and to remove any pollen from your skin or from your hair. Be sure to check your ABC6 app for your on-the-go weather forecast for current wind conditions, as the wind can blow in pollen and dust from as far as 100 miles away. For ABC6, I'm meteorologist Skylar Spindler.
First at 4, a live look over beautiful Providence with our sky cam. It was an absolutely great way to start off Monday. All the windows in my house were open, had the fresh air, even some of that pollen coming in. A lot of spring cleaning going on. Here's a first check of our forecast with Providence Now Chief Meteorologist Jeff Banson.
What's going on, everyone? I hope you had a wonderful Easter weekend. It was a little on the chilly side, especially during the mornings. And in fact, it was chilly out there this morning. However, the sun is shining. We don't have a cloud in sight, and it's feeling even warmer because of that strong April sun than it actually is today, where most temperatures are in the upper 50s, a little bit chillier by the water. The big warm up, it begins tomorrow. We're going to be shooting up towards the 70s and even 80s by the end of the week, where record high temperatures are possible. I'm going to have more on that coming up in my full forecast in just a little bit. And hey, I'll let you know when we're going to stop seeing this beautiful sunshine and we'll need the rain gear next.
Meantime, fire officials say they are concerned about brush fires as we begin a warm and dry week. Here's Providence Now reporter Alyssa Azara.
Hi everyone, Alyssa Azara here. I'm currently standing on Wild Acres Road in North Attleboro, where a brush fire began around 11:30 a.m. yesterday, about 1,000 feet into the woods behind me. This is a hiking trail. Now today, fire officials put out the remaining 2 hotspots of that brush fire. I just spoke with the fire chief, and he says he's anticipating a very busy season because of how dry the ground is. Now this week is supposed to be very warm and dry, which means brush fires can happen. The fire chief is reminding everyone to, if you are going to burn a fire, have water nearby. Be careful when putting out flammable things like cigarettes, and just stay vigilant during this time.
Meantime, a family of 4 tonight forced out of their home after a fire. It was called in around 11 o'clock this morning at a home on Sumter Street in Providence. The Red Cross is helping that family of 4, including 2 children. This is a developing story. As we continue to get updated information, we'll let you know about it both online and on air. Another fire to tell you about, this one at a church in Cambridge, just hours after Easter services. WCVB reporting that fire happened at Faith Lutheran Church on Broadway shortly after 5:30 Sunday night. This video shows clouds of smoke billowing from the church. At this time, fire officials aren't sure what caused the blaze or if anyone was inside when it started. To local political news at 4 o'clock, former Rhode Island State Rep Aaron Regenberg is running for the open congressional seat. He was a representative of Providence in the State House starting back in 2014. He served 2 terms. He then ran for lieutenant governor, but lost to now Governor Dan McKee. Regenberg highlighted climate change, women's rights, and his union support in a release announcing his candidacy. The seat is open after Congressman David Cicilline announced he is resigning to take over as head of the Rhode Island Foundation. Just ahead on ABC 6 News, first at 4, the Justice Department launching an investigation into classified documents leaked on social media, while U.S. officials are scrambling to identify the leak's source. Plus, it was an absolutely stunning day today in the Ocean State, and it is just the start of a great week. Jeff Banson is back with our full weather forecast just ahead.